The portrait artist Gottfried Lindauer holds a special place in New Zealand history. He painted hundreds of subjects, many of them noted figures in the colony. But the work that has received most of the attention are his portraits of Māori from the 19th century. These paintings have provided a portal into our past.
Hori Kingi Te Anaua was first named Te Anaua, which is a name that comes from his father's side, Te Aiwa o Te Rangi, often just referred to as Te Aiwa, and Te Aiwa's father was Rangi Te Anaua, and so his name Te Anaua descends from that line. Hori Kingi was a name that he adopted when he was baptised by John Mason on Christmas Day 1842. And the name Hori Kingi was adopted as a mark of mana, let's say. It's often been translated as his name is therefore George King, when actually it was King George. His first wife, Te Hukinga, they were married in 1843. Sadly, in 1860, Te Hukinga passed away, where he then married in 1861 Te Aotarewa. Hori Kingi had no children from either union. However, it's been said that he whangaied mai koe a Hohi. And that makes quite a lot of sense, especially where Hohi's daughters are involved. They gifted a lot of the land in Whanganui City, and also one of Hohi's daughters, Pura McGregor, she led a number of the victory hukas during Major Kemp's campaigns. In May 1840, the treaty arrived here in Whanganui, and it was signed across the river at Pākaitore. And Hori Kingi and the Te Anaua family, him and his brother and sister, they each signed the treaty. Our tūpuna here realised that it was a changing world. If they didn't adapt to this changing world, would get left behind and potentially taken over. And so they signed the Treaty of Waitangi, and then they aligned themselves with the settlers and the Crown. Anā, nā rātau oki ngā kaipuke, I tuku atu ki rā wāi, ki te ari atu I te witi, me rā mai ei wai oranga, mō rātau o tēnā wā. Hori Kingi Te Anaua was involved in the Battle of Motoa. I refer to Motoa simply because it's a defining moment for us as Whanganui, where sadly the terms kupapa and hoho are used out of context because the Battle of Motua divided us, upper river and lower river. And though he was older at the time, he had quite a lot of say around that battle. So Motua was quite significant for us as a people, and it's still quite tender for many of our people as well. After that battle, Hori Kingi went just upstream of Motua, where he uttered the famous words, "Wiria te taunoka." And that reference to grabbing the two branches of the taunoka, tying them together as a sign, we will tie ourselves back together as a people again. As our old people wanted to enter into a world of light after the darkness associated with the battle. One of the interesting things about Hori Kingi te Anaua and about the Whanganui River is it was one of the first places to embrace photography. And so there are a number of photographs of Hori Kingi te Anaua and his siblings, but also there are traditional photographs or hokairo. In his latter years, and in 1860, Te Anaua, along with the other local rangatira in the mountain, called a large hui of iwi to kōkako to try and stop the selling of land. What kōkako did was it set the line, if we sell our land, it'll cause pressure amongst ourselves, we will have to fight ourselves again, but also we'll get in a trap where we'll lose our resources and won't be able to sustain ourselves. This painting of Hori Kingi te Anaua was done by Lindauer as part of the Partridge collection. It enhances his appearance. It's great. E mea o ka ira. E mea nui, kia waka ua mai I ngā kaupapa nunui o te iwi, o te wānau o ki pērā ki ngā tangianga, ki ngā uunga, e rātū kaupapa katoa. Hori Kingi te Anaua passed away in September 1868 and is buried at Taumata Karoro, often referred to as Korokota or Golgotha. Nō reire e koro Hori Kingi te Anaua. Tēnei rā mātou o uri, e mihi nei e tangi nei. Nāu nā koutou, te ara I para, I wawai, kia waioranga mātou, I roto I ēnei o ka tupuranga, tatu atu ki a pōpō oki.
The settlement of New Zealand, colonisation of New Zealand and photography are synonymous. The 19th century is a time of huge upheaval. It's a fascinating 100 years. Photographers began carrying their gear to the remote ends of the world. So it was extensively photographed. As fast as photography was developing, painting was having to adapt to it.
Lindauer himself took photographs, and they were already commonly in use by artists in Europe as an aid memoir, which means they have their photographic image to help them when they're in the studio.
I mean, people commented about how they were like photographs. They were so incredibly accurate. The best way to do that was to get some help from the photograph. When we took some infrared images of the paintings and saw the pencil drawing underneath, it was very clear that he must have projected the image onto the surface. He must have used something like an epidiascope, which was an old-fashioned kind of projector, which projected from an image, not a transparency, and he must have projected that onto his canvas. So he was using the new technologies in a very clever way.
He mokopuna hau no taitoko te rangi iwi or te rangi kepa or Major Kemp, as he's commonly referred to. Te rangi iwi was born in Muaupoko lands around the early part of the 1820s. His father, Mauera Paki Tanguru o te rangi, was a rangatira of Muaupoko. His mother was Rereo Maki, who was a sister to Hori Kingi te Anaua. She was one of the 5 women who signed the Treaty of Waitangi. Te rangi iwi was born during quite turbulent times for Muaupoko. And during a battle at one of their pa on the island of Lake Wairarapa, Rereo Maki swam to safety with rangi iwi on her back while Tanguru fought alongside his people. Ngāti Toa, Te Ātiawa and Ngāti Raukawa exerted a lot of pressure on Muaupoko in those times, and their warring led to Tanguru and Rereo Maki seeking a refuge at Putiki in the Whanganui area with Rereo Maki's people. Te rangi iwi grew to influence with his mother's whānau and knowing of the injustices suffered by his father's people. Te rangi kepa is thought to have had 3 wives. We believe from his second wife he had a daughter called Wikitoria. Though he probably learnt to read and write from the missionaries, he didn't adopt Christianity until the 1840s, when he started to become recognised for his fighting qualities. Te rangi iwi served in the police force and was also part of a group that delivered mail between Whanganui and Wellington. In 1864, he was appointed native assessor to the Rotorua Māori Land Court. The same year, the New Zealand land wars broke out. Te rangi iwi fought alongside the Crown and earned the respect of the Pākehā. He fought at the Motua battle. He was involved at Opotiki after the Voltner incident. He distinguished himself on a number of occasions, and I am proud to be wearing the New Zealand War Medal which he was presented with. In 1876, Kemp also was presented with the Sword of Honour from Queen Victoria, which is now in the Whanganui Museum. Te rangi iwi had established himself as a warrior among his own men and had a considerable Māori force that were loyal unto him. His troops were feared and revered. Whanganui honoured them with a ceremonial presentation of a motua flag and the erection of a monument. Some people call Te rangi iwi kupapa. We as a whānau don't have a problem with the word. Te Kepa made his stance to protect the interests of his people, and now we have our lands, which is a result of Te Kepa. Te rangi iwi died at the age of 73 on the 15th of April 1898 at Matangirau and is buried at Pūtiki Urupa. His final words, Te morihu whenua, te moriu tangata. Sell no more land, keep the remainder and have a sustenance for the people. There are two paintings of Major Kemp in the Whanganui Museum. One of him in his full military uniform and the other of him later in life. Having those two portraits of our tūpuna is a privilege for us. I have viewed the portraits often, and I have also showed my whānau. We are able to tell them the story of our tūpuna, and we know that it is being well preserved.
Her full name is Raua Te Mata Kaihoe Tūrangapito. She was born around 1851 to Wairama and Erawiti Tūrangapito. Her wakapapa is of Whanganui, Tuaretō and Rangatihi. Her wahine rangatira, she was of rangatira lineage. She lived on the block of land within Pūtiki, known as Matangirai. She was very tall. She ruled with a firm hand. If she fancied any particular person, all she would do is snap his fingers and no one would deny her. So that was the way things were done in her day. She had two marriages. Her first marriage was to Hinare Tupuku of Ngāti Rangi. They had two children, Tamehana and Heka. Her second marriage was to Te Kepa. It was possibly an arranged marriage, more importantly to secure the bloodlines and carry on that political voice of Te Kepa. Unfortunately, they had no children. She was known for her mau taiaha skills. Her taiaha is currently with our family. This taiaha has been handed down from father to son and down to myself. Also, this is the taiaha that a kuia te Mata Kaihoe used at the Pōhiri at Whakarewarewa in 1901. The 1901 visit of the Duke and Duchess of York and Cornwall is important as a strategic move for those tribes that were friendly with the Crown. That Pōhiri was held in Rotorua. There were a number of dress rehearsals here in front of this wharepuni, Te Pako o Te Rangi. In those days, our tūpuna would choose the best people for the job to uphold our mana. And therefore, she was one of those people that was given a responsibility. A woman of great dignity, and you just need to look at her eyes to know, oh, don't want to mess with that kuia. To see our kuia at the forefront, so many warriors behind her at that pohiri, was an awesome sight. I was told she was the only woman who could stand on the marae and speak. No one would dare challenge her. That was the mana of our kuia. Mata Kaihoe died in 1923, some 26 years after her husband, Te Kepa. She died at Matangirei Marae, Putiki. She was 72. She is buried at Putiki, Urupa. Te Mata Kaihoe's legacy was to carry on Te Kepa's view, to maintain the autonomy and mana over their lands. The portrait of our kuia remains in whānau possession. It was painted in 1898. It was commissioned by Te Mata Kaihoe along with Te Kepa, which is currently housed at the Whanganui Museum. We have all grown up together knowing that our tūpuna had always been in the house. When the cousins come to visit, they would also ask, oh, who's this kuia, who's that kuia? And it was about connecting to the past of who we are as a whānau. I think with Lindauer is that he truly captures the life force of Te Mata Kaihoe. He brings out the inner wairua of our kuia in those days. The Gottfried Lindauer portrait of her clearly identifies that Lindauer himself was truly a tohunga in his own right. Nō reira e kui, mui mai, takoto mai. Haere ki te pūtahitanga o rehua e te kuia, mui mai, ariatura.
To have a Gottfried Lindauer painting is something pretty special. They hold a lot of stories about people.
Nō reira, e mihi atu ana hoki ki te tangata nei a Lindauer. Mai ona mahi, ka puta mai, te ātāhua o ngā kōrero e pāna ki tō tātou tipuna.
If you look at the Lindauer portraits, the chiefs and chieftainesses, they all hold themselves proudly. He wanted to present them at their best.
I'm so pleased to be one of his family. I think we have a wonderful heritage, and so I feel for what he did, it gave New Zealanders a good idea of the Maori people, their majesty, their greatness. Some people say it was like a photograph, but there's more to it than a photograph. They don't feel ordinary. I mean, there's something there that he got from them. I think because he liked them, the people who he painted, and of course they liked him. And so that is why I think I feel so good. I'm proud to be a Lindauer.
supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.